Hello, everyone. Welcome to another round of the Galactic Pod Racing Tournament. We're between DigitalUnity and That's No Good. Whoever wins this advances further into the winner's bracket. Whoever loses will be knocked into the loser's bracket. And we are starting off on Baru Coast, which was chosen randomly, and neither player is particularly fond of this track.
Yeah, it's certainly something, let me tell you. This this track is extremely brutal. Like, there's just no sugarcoating it, right? And I don't even know how to tell you that how good these players are gonna do here, because That's No Good is not the strongest player with Ben. He prefers Bullseye, so now he's trying to force himself on Ben for whatever track. And then Digital tends to avoid a lot of the more brutal tracks, and this track, especially with Ben, is one of the top 2 to 3 hardest tracks in the game. I generally consider it the second hardest thing to do behind Grabvine Gateway with Bullseye, like in terms of ILs, right? Obviously, Grabvine Gateway with Ben would be harder than Grabvine with Bullseye, but even with Bullseye on Grabvine, it's still harder than Baru Coast Ben, but Baru Coast Ben trumps everything else, if you ask me.
Yeah, Grabvine Gateway is just such a different beast of a track compared to everything else.
All right, both players are ready, so the countdown is being given by Bato here.
I have no idea what to expect with this.
Yeah, neither do I. All right. I will say that I expect Digital is going to be a pretty heavy favorite in this matchup. So I wouldn't expect him to lose. It's just a question of I have no clue what these players are going to be doing in terms of like performance or anything.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, here we go. And good. DigitalUnity was playing with inverted controls. He fixed it.
Yeah, very happy that he got that fixed.
Uh-oh.
Oh, already a crash from That's No Good.
Oh, I saw that crash coming from Digital. Ugh!
Ooh. Alright, now we're on the easy section of the track here for Digital, the long beach section, which is part of what makes this track really good for Ben, because this following section is extremely rough for Ben. You can die on any of these walls on any given day. Doesn't matter how good you are, if you take them riskily, you can die.
Yeah. I think only Bullseye and Mars can get through it, and That's No Good went right over one of those.
Oof. Yeah, he was not coming at that wall at a good angle, that's for sure. Alright, Digital has a pretty substantial lead here, which I wouldn't say is very surprising, but man, oh man, these players are both clearly not familiar on this track at all.
I think they should have gone with Bullseye here, both of them.
Honestly, I agree with you. Neither of these players have the familiarity and practice required to use Ben. It is extremely difficult to use Ben here. And there's no sugarcoating effect. Oh, another death here.
Because,
That's No Good isn't actually doing that much worse than Digital in all, reality here. A 138 for Digital. Ooh, man. Barely even on sub 5 pace. And That's No Good gonna be coming. Oh, dies again.
Oh!
Digital failing the jump. A 157. Oh man, this is some rough stuff.
Yeah, because ideally, once you max out Bullseye, you go to Mars Glow, and then once you max out Mars Glow, only then you go to Ben.
Yeah, pretty much. Or at least you have to be pretty good at Mars. So, you have to be able to get consistent, 357 with Mars to be able to use Ben.
Yeah.
And, oh my word. Watching those jumps from That's No Good. Whew.
Yeah. Also, I think Ben, and also Mars and Bullseye, I think are the only pods that have the handling to go through it without scraping those texture kill spots?
Of the relevant metapods, the only other one would be Mahonic probably can.
Mahonic and
Probably.
Elon Mac.
Elon Mac maybe. I don't really know. I haven't done as much Elon here to know, but Ma and Mars had the same turn rate at the very least, so they'd probably get through it similarly. But if you want to go to non-metapods, then Anakin and Slide could also get through it.
Well, I just know that but then that may be coming from me because you're supposed to play this track at low frame rates, and Mahonic handles way worse at low frame rates than at high frame rates due to his low traction.
Yeah, I think generally Mahonic you have to be using max traction on lower FPS, generally speaking. Obviously there are exceptions like M100, but 24,600 with Maw is pretty good. And 146 from That's No Good cleaned up his second lap, but so did Digital, so he's probably like 30 seconds behind or so right now.
Yeah.
That's probably too big for Digital to lose this race at this point, but... Oh man, this has been an interesting watch to say the least.
Yeah. Neither player is used to it, and they didn't help themselves with the pod they picked.
No, they both chose the, like, in terms of meta pods, the hardest possible pick that does good on this track, because Bowles just isn't even good on this track. He's so bad at turning.
Yeah.
Oh my word, they're just both dying back and forth. I don't even know how many deaths these players had, because they've both died numerous times everywhere.
Yeah, I've lost count.
Yeah.
Oh my
man.
god.
Digital trying to hold a boost that none of us hold. Will he get sub 5? Yes, he will. By the skin of his
Barely.
teeth, Digital gets a sub 5. That's no good. Coming in, honestly, not nearly as far behind as I would have expected him to be on a track like this, because That's No Good is, you know, very known for being, like, not the strongest player with Ben comparatively. Very used to using Bullseye, which, honestly, he probably would have won if he went Bullseye, you know?
Yeah.
I really do think he would have won if he went Bullseye.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we got both times in here.
Ugh from DigitalUnity in the notes.
Oh, Digital was on 2420 traction out of mistake. That is rough. Nobody should be using 2420 Ben on that track.
No.
I mean, TAS will, but that's you know, like perfect execution and gameplay. We're humans. We're not going to be doing that crap.
I think you can only do 2420 on this track with Mars and Bullseye.
Pretty much, yeah. Other than meta pods, that's about all you can do with. All right, we have some permabans coming in here. That's no good. Banning Executioner, Digital banning Boon to Training Course. Let's see. What's the next track that we're going to get? I'm kind of curious. What do you think That's No Good is going to choose for his second ban?
I have no idea.
I expect Digital will choose another quote-unquote easier track. Or maybe he's done research into That's No Good, so maybe he could do, like, Mongaza or Aquilars Classic. I'm not sure, but... Or even Sunken City. I think That's No Good is picked Sunken City before.
Grabvine Gateway.
Yep. That's No Good banning Grabvine Gateway. A very smart pick. I know Digital has done some practice with Neva Key there.
Yeah. Mongaza Speedway from Digital.
Mongaza Speedway ban. Makes sense. Banning two of the easier tracks in the game to kind of make it so that That's No Good has to play on harder tracks.
And ban?
To answer your question, Asder, 2420 is not universally bad in any capacity for humans. In fact, it's the meta on Malistar 100. but it's just generally considered much more difficult and much more likely to go wide on corners, despite the fact that it's technically optimal in most places. All right, so yeah, that Ben ban, which is very typical for That's No Good to do. He's very fond of banning Ben and going bullseye despite there being faster pods. Digital banning Vengeance. I can kind of get behind that ban. If you're not used to using other pods on Vengeance, you probably don't want to try to force yourself to use Bulls or Aldar on Vengeance.
Oh, and don't even try that.
Oh boy. Oh no. We have an Abyss selection so far. Let's see if there's any forces or anything else. We might be just doing Abyss. That's No Good apologizing for choosing Abyss.
This is the first time we've seen the full track in this tournament.
Oh man, Abyss full track. Been a while since we've been able to watch this. And this is a pretty genius pick if you take it from That's No Good. Bullseye is pretty good here.
This track. This is the track that most people failed to win back in the day because you fall off the top level, you're doomed.
Yeah, I remember the hours of struggle on playing as a kid, and most people remember that as well.
I didn't even beat this track until I used Bullseye Navarre because I figured being the narrowest and most agile pod, you could stay on top of the track.
Yeah, I beat it with Neva Key back in the day because I would break and re-accelerate all the time over every little obstacle that I could fall off of.
Oh, I still turn timid with this track.
It's a terrifying track.
Particularly in tournament mode with no skips.
Oh yeah, if you're in tournament or you're doing tournament mode for a RTA run or something, you can just lose so much time here. If you fall off, you lose 15 to 20 seconds at minimum if you fail to get back up.
And
you can see Digital already failing here. He's choosing Neva Key, gets back up, and immediately falls off in practice. Oh man.
Not a good sign.
He does climb back up the second time, so maybe he has a comfort with Neva Key and climbing back up. I don't know. But That's No Good. Very familiar with Bullseye here. Gonna be taking it very safely, although he still falls off. Oh boy. We might be in for a long one, folks.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
The reason I didn't use Neva Key here is because his acceleration's so energetic, I would launch off the bottom track, and I didn't do that with Bullseye.
Minute 2 and practice lap for Neva Key. That is not what you want to see here. Neva Key can easily get in the 235 range if you play pretty well, so losing 10-15 seconds or so in lap 1, not a good sign. Or I guess more like 10 seconds lap 1.
And that's the good seems to be.
I think That's No Good seems to be decently comfortable. All right, both players are ready. Countdown is now being given.
Oh my God.
I have no clue how this race is going to go at all.
Yeah.
There's literally no reference point.
There's no reference point, and I wouldn't be surprised if both players fall onto the lower track and take the penalty lap.
For sure. And the worst part about it is that when you fall off in tournament, you immediately assume you're losing the race. So you start putting the pedal down, and it's not always best to do that.
Yeah. This is the only track where the skip is far easier than the full track.
Yeah, pretty much. Or at least one of the only ones. Alright. Let's see. That's No Good. Making it around the first corner. The generally most inconsistent. And Digital also making it around there. Oh. Okay, That's No Good. Almost fell off there of his own fruition, and Digital falls off, and he doesn't make it back up. And that's no good. Missing the penalty lap.
And it's so easy to crash on this penalty lap.
And this is why it's such a good pick for That's No Good, because if he just plays like this and Digital falls off, well, even just 2 laps, That's No Good almost has this in the bag.
Ah!
Oh my word, and the lead just keeps expanding for That's No Good. Even though he took a death, Digital is really struggling.
Yeah.
That's No Good is a whole, like, quarter or third of the lap ahead. But he needs to keep it clean. He's got to not fall off, and he can't take a whole bunch of deaths. If he takes a whole bunch more than Digital, then he will lose his lead. But he still has a good, decent one here.
I can't really tell. I don't even call it until the 3rd lap, usually.
Oh, no, you can't call anything on this track. Let's see, That's No Good.
Ah!
He falls off. Can he get back up?
Nope.
He's trying to. Oh, and Digital dying on the pillar before the end of the 1st lap. And That's No Good. Makes it back up.
Come on, don't fall off again. This is tense.
He makes
it.
Digital also staying on top. Let's see if he can hold it to the end. He did fall off at the end on this corner here last time. Digital holding it together. All right, That's No Good. Staying on top here even too. That's pretty good racing. Holding on to his lead. Although it is shrinking, Digital is having much cleaner racing outside of that 1st lap where he fell off. But That's No Good has taken a lot less deaths this lap, so he might be able to hold this out the rest of the time.
I'm not gonna count it until this final lap.
Nope, it all comes down to this. Can he get himself to stay? He stays on top, but he's got to hold it. Digital making back like 10 seconds of time there. Oh man, this is tense. That's no good. Making it through. This is 3 out of 3, no penalty. Digital coming up to the corner where he fell off on lap 1. Holds it together. Oh man, this is going to come down to execution now. Oh, that's no good. That's bad. That is really bad. Digital is now only seconds behind, and he has been racing faster this whole time. That death might have done him. Oh, they both fall off. They're both on the lower track. This is going to come down to the end. That's no good. Only has about a second lead now. He might have lost the lead there. I think he did.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh,
yep, he lost it.
That's a heartbreaker. He had it right there. So close. 2 seconds off. Unfortunate. But Digital takes that track. What an incredible race. I never, like, at any point, anybody could have won that.
Ben. Inferno.
I really don't even know what to expect from That's No Good right now. I hope he doesn't try a salty run back, because I don't think Digital didn't learn anything from that race. I think he learned how he needs to do it to beat him.
But with Bullseye, and he reminds me of what I would do on the track, because he just turned timid.
To answer your question, Seal Breaker, this is a Steam or GOG version. So they re-released it on Steam and GOG in, I believe, 2017 or 2018.
2017, because that's when it started picking up again.
Yeah.
So
this isn't like it's not really a special version, it's just a more like a later release.
Yeah, because originally it was released in 1999 for PC, CD, Dreamcast, and Nintendo 64. And by the start of the last decade, so this is like 2010-11, it was really hard to find all 3 of those versions. The Gauntlet,
I don't like this pick. That's no good. If you're gonna choose Bullseye, you can't be going to these really long tracks.
No.
That's like
And I
the
would say this
worst possible choice that you could do, really.
Yeah.
I think Gauntlet might literally be the worst possible choice for Bullseye in the game. Because
Oh, yeah.
there's no advantage to using Bullseye here whatsoever at any point, and there's the long off-road section.
Yeah.
So not only do you lose time more so from it being long, but you lose time even more on top of that because it's the off-road. And you also can't use the fast terrain as well either because Bullseye cools down too much.
Are you going with Beto?
You know, I guess that's not the worst pick ever because Bulls is pretty hard to handle in general, but like Ito's barely better, and he's much slower. He's gonna have a lot harder time with the off-road terrain with Beto.
Yeah. I mean, a safe pick. If you were to pick a safe pick for this track, it would be Mars.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't like lower traction, greasy pods, you don't, which is basically just the definition of bowls. And Aldar is not really better. He has a few more degrees of turn rate, and that's about it. He has worse acceleration, so you can't make as many mistakes. He has a worse boost thruster, so he's slower. And he has a lower heat rate, so he heats up faster.
He has a
on
higher
this.
heat rate.
Well, yeah. He just like by the numbers it lasts less time, so it's like lower in that sense. But you got to really manage your heat well to use Aldar effectively at all.
Yeah, because
I think Digital is just trying to not go pure meta against That's No Good to make the match better, but at the same time,
Opie's changing.
Oh, what's he gonna go with? Is he going to Bulls? Yeah, okay. There's really no reason to not use Bulls here. It's not a very difficult track in the sense of like you need this slightly.
Why are you using Beto?
Okay. All right. Well, both players are ready, so we're gonna go ahead and give the countdown. I don't think there's a world where That's No Good can actually pull this one out. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like this track is the epitome of not choosing Bullseye.
Yeah. Sorry to put it bluntly, but this is like using Bullseye here as an own goal.
Yeah, I mean, this is just holding yourself back in like every sense of that phrase, really.
Because if I've done research on the Gauntlet, and I think the only pods that can make it all the way down that off-road shortcut without tapping out heat is
Digital does die though.
I think only Ben, Bulls, Mars, and Elon Mack can make it all the way from a cold start fully upgraded.
And That's No Good taking a bad path here too.
Oof.
And dies. Oof. This is gonna be a rough one. I'm gonna be honest. Like, and I hate to be kind of really cynical about it, but look, this section right here.
Watch him tap out. Yep. And both of them tapped out.
And Bullseye tapping out way earlier. Like he's completely cold now. So that is a lot of underheating and spending more time on off-road terrain, and he's already a weaker boost thrust to begin with. So you can just kind of see that part right there, on top of it being such a long track with no advantage to having a high turn rate, there's just quite literally zero reason to pick Bullseye here.
Yeah.
And there's a massive gap between the Bulls and Aldar tier and Bullseye when it comes to raw speed too. It's not even close.
Yeah. I mean, the only...
I mean, Digital is crashing more, so, like, there is that, but That's No Good follows it right back with his own crash, so that advantage that he gets is almost entirely negated, with the exception of Bullseye having better acceleration.
The one thing you can do with that off-road shortcut is that you can tilt and hug the wall to regain speed and then boost again.
Yeah. And that's no good not using Bullseye's heat effectively enough either, so he's losing time from that. He would have an easier time because he wouldn't have to boost as much with a pod with worse cooling. But with a pod with such good cooling like Bullseye, you have to manage your heat well. Digital dying again, though.
But
And he's
got
gonna
a
tap
cool
out.
start.
Oh,
it's really
catching fire! That's why you can't take that path. You have to do the jumps to avoid the flame triggers.
Yeah, you have to. As long as you stay off the bright path, you're good.
Yeah. And we do
It doesn't
know where
even-
all the triggers are, but at the same time, we have a strategy for avoiding them even without that information.
Well, I know too
Digital
is
taking
that
a lower path there, which is not faster if you bonk at all.
usually, if it doesn't slow you down, you take heavy damage to outright crash doing that.
Yeah. It's very difficult to do in a way that saves any meaningful time. Let alone if you're going to lose speed, it just doesn't save you any time at all.
Yeah, and it's only worth it unless you're absurdly good with the track.
Yeah. Until you can sub 5 without it, there's no reason to do it. And certainly Digital isn't the sub 5 caliber with Ben here, just because we've seen his times being like 5:10 or something.
Yeah.
Alright, Digital coming in. Lap 2. A little slower than his lap
Uh-oh.
1. Ooh.
But for a second, that's so good with a soft lock.
I don't know what frame rate That's No Good runs on. Or how familiar
know.
he is with meta frame rates at all.
Because at high frame rates, which is optimal for the skip on this track, you run the risk of soft locking.
Yeah.
And but the odd thing about the soft lock is that usually it only affects really high frame rates. It doesn't happen at low frame rates like you get on the 64 or even the Dreamcast. It happens more at like the high end that you get on the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yeah, which ironically makes console versions inevitably just more risky to play on these tracks. In PC, it's not even that big of a risk. You just lose some time because you can actually Alt-Tab out of the game and going back into it, and we think that it lowers the frame rate and undoes the soft lock is why that works, but it does undo the soft lock.
We have no such option on Switch, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, well, we're getting close to the end of lap 3 here for Digital. And That's No Good is probably 15-20 seconds behind or so. I think 15. So, unless Digital manages to crash like 4 times here, which I don't think he will, he's got this one. Makes it through the tube without dying. Almost dies on the exit, though.
That
And-
tube exit used to...
DigitalUnity will take this.
That tube exit used to kill me like crazy.
Alright. That's No Good coming in with a 608.073. Not that far off his PB, but you could just see like they died comparable amounts of times, and Digital
Ben
just had
Ban.
a massive advantage. I'd really like to see That's No Good use some forces to ban more pods and make it a bullseye mirror, at least on one race.
So Bobo's legacy band from Digital Unity. 'Cause 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 Bo Scrappers Run.
All right, Scrappers Run. See if we get to skip here. I'm guessing not. Looks like
This
no
track,
forces, and we're probably gonna see Bullseye again from That's No Good. But I would expect either Bullseye for That's No Good. They're gonna see either Bulls or Mars, if I had to guess from Digital.
I just picked this track as an own goal for That's No Good as well.
Yeah, it's not as bad as other ones though, because at least the track is shorter here, and you can fall off really easily. So if That's No Good plays clean enough, should work out. Mikey, this is first of 5, or best of 9, whichever way makes more sense in your head. All right, Bulls coming out from Digital, clearly the best option here.
Yeah.
There's really no competition for it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Digital, there's no contest here. I mean,
No. There's a pretty decent advantage to Bulls on this track, or any track between Bulls and Bullseye outside of a couple.
yeah. Only time the margin closes is on Gravine Gateway, Fire Mountain Rally, Punta Classic, and Baru Coast, pretty much. Also Inferno.
Yeah. I mean, obviously on some of those it goes heavily in Bullseye's favor, but you know.
Abyss Full is also another one too, since Bull's Roar is really easy to fall off the top track with.
Yeah, for a tournament setting, Bulls is pretty difficult to use on Abyss, but he is still faster for sure. All right,
Yeah.
well, the countdown has been given, so we should see them go off here momentarily. I think that might be That's No Good's real start.
Yeah. Here you see... Look at that. There you see Bullseye tapping out.
Oh, That's No Good dying on the death wall and Digital taking red engine damage.
Usually that wall is certain death!
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get banged up and not die on that wall. That's for sure.
And then, this is where Bulls is just gonna go way fast. There he is, hitting 1,000. And Bullseye's tapping out around 930.
Yeah, you can see the speed difference just very clearly here. I like that Digital is just keeping his heat high since he has no guarantee of getting through. Oh, dying on the wall. And That's No Good taking it deathless. I think That's No Good's going to get a small lead here, but it's not going to last long.
No.
He needs Digital to do that again next race.
Even then, he's still gonna claw back a lead just because his boost thrust is a full, 90 units higher.
Yeah, and you can see here that Bulls is already taking the lead back.
And he'll gain it even
That's
more
No Good
here.
is playing pretty well, but Bulls is just so much faster.
Yeah.
That's No Good really needs Digital to crash at least one more time. Which he might do on this wall. Nope, takes it cleanly.
The death wall.
That's No Good also staying clean, but it doesn't matter if Digital stays clean. The pod disadvantage is just massive here. Well, or anywhere for that matter. Most tracks, this pod combination would not be in Bullseye's favor.
Yeah. It's only in Bullseye's favor on Fire Mountain Rally and Gravine Gateway, where it's just too difficult
And
to boost.
Digital takes it.
205. Match point for Digital.
Yep. So there was about a 3.5 to 4 second gap there, despite the fact that they both had one death and Digital took massive damage on one lap.
Ban. Fire Mountain Rally ban.
Guess we won't be seeing much of the bullseye tracks today. Alright, Malister 100. No Bull's Roar. Hopefully that's no good. Oh, wait. He removed the pod ban. I was kind of hoping he was going to... Oh, Bull's Roar and Aldar Beto for one of his points. Let's see if he does more. I hope so. Removes those as well. What? That's no good has 3 force points that he can use, and he chooses to use none of them. Huh.
Now at a massive disadvantage again. I mean,
right now he's only banned Ben, and he's doesn't want to use any of his points.
oh my god.
There's just I don't understand that. Like as a bullseye only player, he should be taking advantage of the force points and banning it. But he says he could, but it'll be fine. So I guess we won't be seeing any force points being used here today from That's No Good, since this was his last chance to use any.
Digital just said in chat, change your mind, the water line?
Change your mind, huh?
Yep, pretty much! Oh, that's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. For sure.
Too expensive. Oh! Made a joke with the prices of the shop.
Oh, man. Better go back and refresh that junkyards.
Yeah, maybe you'll find what you need back at the junkyard. Beto. Now, Beto's not a bad pick here because he is used for the amateur circuit run of this track.
Yes, but all of the pods except for Mars are going to be... You need low traction still, but they're all so greasy. Like, using Bulls and Aldar on this track is just so hard because you still need 2420, 2460 range traction to be able to use that last hairpin.
Oh my god, and 2420 on this track with stock traction for Bulls, Elon, and Beto is like really bad, really dangerous.
And there you can see the hairpin that you need that low traction for. Digital clearly not knowing how to approach it with Bullseye. All right, both players are ready, so we're going to go ahead and have the countdown be given.
Because
if Digital dies there every lap, That's No Good will probably take this.
This is a...
Because Beto has the worst acceleration in the game. Yeah. So he loses a lot of time from deaths.
Yeah. Worst acceleration in the game, tied with Rat's Terrell.
DigitalUnity appearing to be still in 60 FPS here. Not a good pick. You cannot do that turn without heavily braking if you're on 60 FPS, even at minimum traction with Bullseye. Oh, did he switch it? No, he did not. I can't say I approve of that choice, but then again, he just has to play okay.
One thing without upgrades. One thing without upgrades, it's a whole other beast with upgrades.
And even then, without upgrades, it's still best to use 2420 on this track. Because you just need to do that hairpin without losing speed. And I can tell you from experience that I haven't been able to match my 24 FPS no upgrade auto
Both
time.
crash, and
Digital was stuck in the wall.
I've never seen that before.
I have never seen anybody do that. Digital losing possibly more time than a death from that.
I never knew that was possible. I played this game since 2000, and that's a first.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen anybody get on that wall. What the heck? I don't think anybody's ever seen that happen before.
I never saw that happen before. That was insane.
And that's no good. Now has a lead. And he's been holding on to it. Dies again, though. Digital probably going to play it a lot safer. Still gives him the warning, though. I think that's no good. Keeps his lead here for now. Barely, but just barely keeps his lead.
Yeah,
he's got to count on Digital to make mistakes.
Any bonk from Digital could cause him some trouble. Oh, and the warning crashes!
Oh, he crashes! This is big for That's No Good. He might be able to take a track off Digital, and I don't think he's ever done that.
Yeah. Can't really call it until the hairpin. Whoa!
Oh, Digital dies again! Oh my gosh! Come on, That's No Good. Hold it together.
Come on. Makes
Doesn't
it!
die.
He's gonna win!
He's got this! And That's No Good takes a track off of Digital. Doesn't even need those pod bands, just like he said.
Oh my god.
And just to be clear, Digital had the pod advantage there. So That's No Good outraced him with a pod disadvantage. Wow.
Let's see if... I'm just... Yep! No, right away! Digital's banning...
pod, man.
I figured... I had a gut feeling Digital was gonna ban Bullseye.
Yep, and we see a gulp coming out from That's No Good here.
Oh man, it's like, you angered him! Banning Fire Mountain Rally. Very smart ban.
Yeah, very smart ban indeed. Definitely don't want to see a Neva Key pick there. Digital has practiced a lot.
It's a classic! Ooh, this is a brutal pick!
Digital was just practicing this with me, like with Ben, so he's probably going to... Oh, he's actually suggesting a gentleman's.
Let me guess, Sebulba versus Anakin?
Alright, so we have no forces, and Anakin and Sebulba.
Versus Sebulba! Please don't pick Sebulba, that's no good. Oh good, he chose the Anakin.
Alright. Anakin and Sebulba. Digital's gonna be on Sebulba, and That's No Good can be on Anakin. Alright.
He just said so I could kill Anakin and save the galaxy. Well, in truth, in this race, I'm gonna have to quote the movie line. I'm betting heavily on Sebulba here.
You know, I don't even know which is technically faster. I think Sebulba is slow. Yeah, Sebulba is definitely slower, I guess, in terms of like speed. Yeah, but the question is, does he make up for it with the better lines he can do on the off-road and the longer heat and cool down? Because that Anakin will lose time to cooling off too much in hairpins.
Yeah, Anakin. But yeah. They are both among the slowest pods in the game fully upgraded. Sebulba is actually the slowest pod fully upgraded.
And just to be clear, Sebulba taps out here and around the 5:30 marker. I did a run with Sebulba on this track, and it was around 5:30. Let me check the exact time. It was 5:33.855 is about the limit. And just to be clear, Ben can get a 4:43, which means that Sebulba loses almost a full minute. Like 50 seconds on just the one track, which is insane to think about. Digital in the shop.
I will also say too is that, and Sebulba, and
both of these pods actually handle really well, but both of them have such a terrible boost thrust that some parts of the track are actually made more difficult by them being slow.
Yeah.
All right. But we should see the start here soon. The countdown was given not that long ago. All right, looks like we have almost a perfect sync too. Very nice.
I'm gonna point blank say that Sebulba is just.
Ooh. And that's no good, getting a pretty nice lead for himself here as he plays a lot cleaner with Anakin. And Anakin's turn rate does make a lot of this track easier.
Yeah.
Personally, I would prefer to use Sebulba, but he's just slower.
I hate using Sebulba because his traction's so poor at low frame rates.
Sebulba might be my favorite pod for turning, to be honest. Because he has such a nice turn rate where it's not too much, and then he has enough greasiness that you can do a lot of hairpins with him. Alright, both taking the longest possible route that they could take, essentially, on that off-road section.
I don't know. Maybe it's different because I play at different frame rates with a different controller.
Well, no, I usually use 24 FPS. It's just the different controller that probably makes the difference.
But I
love low traction.
I'm the polar opposite.
I think it's just the change in meta has been really a big factor because you got so used to it. Oh, that's no good. Dying. I think it might have been because of being caught on fire. I didn't really catch it exactly, but I think that.
Dying. The jaw was. We've got scrap.
Oh man, what a great line! That is one of the best from that game.
Oh yes.
That game had a lot of good lines, but we don't speak about it.
Oh man. Sorry, I have to use that line every time someone crashes into the sandcrawler.
Oh no, I understand. It's a great line for it. Alright. Digital coming in with a 206, and that's no good. About 4 seconds behind here with a 210.
Uh-oh.
Digital losing the boost. Not that big a deal. Oh, bad death from That's No Good. One of the worst places, if not the worst place you can die in this track.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that is... Yeah. I don't know if I would call it that because I don't... Yeah, he tried to go for that pass, so failing it means that's one of the most catastrophic crashes you can take ever on this track.
The only thing that I can think of that is worse is if you miss the jump and fall off and die and get stuck on the worst path entirely.
Yeah.
It's about the only thing that would be as bad on this track.
Yeah.
Alright. Digital's lead is pretty massive now due to that death.
I also
and
love
That's No Good underheating a lot too.
I'm amazed Digital survived that.
Didn't even take much damage either.
That's what Sebulba's slow speed does for him.
True. Sebulba feels like the sturdiest pod in the game when you play as him. He just doesn't take any damage. He tanks everything. But it's partly because of how slow he is. I have
again.
Kind of going back to the conversation that was happening in chat earlier, but I also have like my own modded stats version of the game, and I made Sebulba really tanky, so he could just take hits without taking damage. It's really funny. You just crash into a wall at full speed, and he just takes no damage.
Oh my
That's no
god!
good. Really struggling here.
I don't usually see damage that bad on one engine.
2-minute flat time for digital. That's no good. Kind of be relatively similar. I think a little slower on this. Oh my word! All red, and he takes a
Crash
dash for that one. Ooh, man.
I've never seen triple red on one engine.
I mean, it was all orange, and then he hit one rock. It just triple red on the one engine.
And not just any triple red, triple flashing red.
Yeah. And not even, like, it wasn't even warning either. That's the funny part. None of them were warning. They were just all triple flashing red. Pretty rare stuff we've seen today between M100 with digital and that engine.
That's the worst damage I've ever seen on an engine in Torment, ever.
Yeah, without it just being straight up death. Ooh.
Oh!
Ooh.
I also like how Sebulba has a flame jet and it's useless.
Yeah, you can only use it in multiplayer against actual people, and I mean like 2-player multiplayer. So on like local, on your own console multiplayer. You can't do it on online multiplayer, and you can't do it versus the AI. They just don't get hit by it. It's great.
Oh! Usually my strategy with competing against AI Sebulba is to pass them on the left so I don't get flame jetted.
Yeah. Just to say this, Asder, I mean our current like multiplayer way. I don't know if it works on the original no upgrades multiplayer or not. I've never played that version. So it might have worked
on
originally.
console.
Well, it does work on console, but I just mean like the PC online that when you don't have modded no collision, it might work on that.
Oh, so just the raw online that comes with the new PC version.
It doesn't work anyway online? Oof. That's unfortunate. So you can run into each other, but you can't use the flame.
Oh my god.
Alright, well, Digital is our winner. After a very chaotic Bunta Classic, to say the least.
Yeah. Figures that we have the gentlemen's here because the two players who have done it the past several years and Nacho and Ace aren't competing this year.
Yeah, it was good to see it anyways. That's for sure. Alright, well, we should have them here in a moment for interviews. Welcome, that's no good.
Hello.
Hello.
And
Hello,
welcome to Digital. Congratulations on the win today, Digital.
Well done, Digital.
Sorry I'm late, I just had to put my boy on. So, that was a very fun match, actually.
Yes.
Put me on the back foot for like the whole thing. I had to keep like pulling these off-meta picks out of nowhere and just hoping.
We also saw.
I have a lot of interesting questions to ask with regards to this match, because this was quite a chaotic match, if you ask me.
Fire away.
So, for one, there was the Gauntlet. What made you choose Gauntlet? That's no good, because you're mainly a Bullseye player, and that might be, like, just in terms of meta picks, the worst track for Bullseye to pick.
I know, but it's a good track. I like Gauntlet. It's a fun track.
It is a good track. I agree with you. I was just kind of curious what made you want to choose that, since you like picking Bullseye so much.
I'll admit that I forgot that Bullseye's so terrible doing the boost spit down dirt. I completely forget that.
Oops.
You know, that's fair. And then also, what made you choose Aldar instead of Bowls Digital? For both M100 and the Gauntlet, I'm just kind of curious.
For Gauntlet, I picked Aldar because for some reason I just felt like that was the safer choice than Bowls. I have routinely embarrassed myself with Bowls in this tourney so far. So I picked Aldar on Gauntlet, and I thought, do I want to go back and try Bowls here? I mean, it's a track that I've done before. It's a track that I enjoy, and I just thought to myself, no, stick with what you know. Stick with what you know. And then for M100, I instinctively went to Aldar because that is one of the many tracks that during any amateur circuit run, you run that track with Aldar. That's just how that goes. So I know how Aldar feels on that track, more or less. I know how to control him. I know where I need to brake and when I need to go, or so I thought. Hairpin says hi.
Well, you were on 60 FPS for that track, which is absolutely horrendous with Eldar or any pod.
That's true. I didn't think necessarily far enough ahead on that particular aspect. I made a bad choice there. I should have dropped to 24 and grabbed a 100 for traction. But, sometimes these things just happen.
Yeah.
You also somehow got stuck in the hairpin without crashing. I played this game for 20 years. I've never seen anything like that ever.
Yeah, I thought I
were
was gonna
like
have to
in
get
the
off
wall.
tab.
Yeah, it looked like you were either soft locked or MFGing. It literally looked like you were going to start
Wait.
one of those.
You soft locked it in the hairpin.
I
Pretty
got
much,
stuck
yeah.
in the
Oh
fence.
my god.
I think I've only ever had that happen one other time, and I wasn't recording, so it's nice to have that documented.
I have never once done that, and I don't think I ever will either, because that looked just like a completely random event.
Yeah, that was like 1 in a million.
That's a historic moment. This match is now a historic moment for that one soft lock.
I almost wonder if there's something that you could do off that, because if you can get stuck in walls, like maybe there's a way that you can get stuck in other walls without it being an MFG spot necessarily. Maybe we should look at the blender collision later.
Yeah, that might be worth investigating, but I really think that it's just that the ceiling, I say, the fence there is like.
Does it actually really stick
like
out there? Like,
jutted out.
does it
It
actually
does
jut
not.
out in the collision? Is the question.
I think it must, because otherwise that shouldn't have happened.
Maybe it does, because it does on bumpies and it does on scrapper. Sorry, on what's it called? Spice Mine Run and a couple other places too.
I think it just
So-
must. So anytime you see
That's-
that feature, look out for dumb soft locks, I guess.
And
that
then,
was a weird one.
also on Bunta Classic,
Yes.
I've never seen any engine. I've played this game since 2000, and I've watched most of the tournament matches and commentated a bunch of them. I've never seen one engine go all flashing red on all 3 parts.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. That sounded good.
Oh,
You had a triple flashing red without being in warning for any of them, or not flashing for any of them, and you didn't have a single red engine on the other side.
Oh yeah, I forgot that happened. I normally just explode, so I just thought it was a normal.
that sounds like an interesting event. I'll have to watch the VOD when this gets uploaded.
I didn't even hit a wall or anything. I just hit a rock and it just blew me to pieces.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what happened was that's no good was on the last straight, like the Bunta training straight to the end of the lap, right? And he broke one of the rocks, and he had all orange engines on the left side, and rather than damaging his right engine as well that much, it damaged his left engine perfectly to be all flashing red.
That's incredible. What's the RNG on that one? I want to know. Maybe you should buy a lottery ticket.
Oh man.
That was a heck of a thing there.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Why did you both go Ben for Baru Coast when neither of you are familiar with Ben on Baru Coast?
He said Ben was optimal. Someone said Ben was optimal.
Ben is optimal if you're playing extremely well. Like, that's actually a really good track for Bullseye at the end of the day.
Well,
Yeah.
I disagree. Personally, I'm sticking by my decisions that whole game.
Well, my microphone
God.
pointed at my face. Am I louder now?
Yes, you are.
What was that? Go back to FUD. Go back where I belong. Go back on my boy. I didn't touch anything to make that happen. There we go.
But,
sorry, my mic's
yeah,
been pointed
we were-
away. Do you want to ask any questions again so that I can repeat them
Oh my
louder?
god.
Oh, no, I had you turned up in the Discord volume control.
Oh, okay,
Oh my
good. Somebody found it.
Because, yeah, Baru Coast, we were just thinking you should have gone Bullseye or Mars.
Yeah.
The beginning of this match was a beautiful, chaotic disaster, and I loved it. I
The-
would
Yeah,
do this
um,
again
that was
certainly
in a
something.
heartbeat.
The last two tracks were also ridiculously chaotic to end it with. You had a chaotic start, an uneventful middle, and then a crazy ending.
I like to say this match was a chaotic neutral.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for real. Like, there was just so many moments where you guys were really neck and neck, like Abyss. Anybody could have won that Abyss. But then
Abyss,
there was
I gotta-
also... Oh,
I want to
man.
ask about Abyss because I fell off the top track. What happened to you there, TNG, with Bullseye?
I fell off once, got back on, but I blew up a lot. I'm terrible.
See,
Yeah,
I fell
so
off
if
once
that
and
little
had
bit
to
had
do
died
the
one
pin
less
grab.
time, he would have taken it.
Oh man.
The killer spot was he crashed on the slot boost, which is one of the most catastrophic crashes you can take
Yeah.
on the track outside of falling off the track.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's
It
a
was
really bad
unfortunate.
place for that. Because it was always
What made you choose
respawning on the
Neva
main road.
Key over Bullseye, by the way?
I forgot if Bullseye was better than Neva on that track.
He's better
And
than
I-
Neva on every track, except Mongaza
Yeah.
Fast Lap, maybe.
I blanked, and I went to my usual strategy of ban Bullseye, pick Neva on something, which apparently brain short circuited there. That was not what I should have done. I should have just taken Bullseye. But I stand by my decision because I proved in practice, at least, that Neva is capable of climbing back up at 24.
Well,
I didn't
Neva's
do it in the
acceleration is
actual
pretty
thing.
amazing. So yeah, but I mean, it's just I didn't really understand the strategy behind picking Neva instead of Bullseye, but now I understand that it was just you kind of just questioning it. So I
My
did-
brain didn't operate at maximum capacity. I forgot Bullseye existed.
I mean, I don't know how comfortable you are with the other meta easier quote unquote pods like Maw, Elon, and Mars, but
Let me
obviously
actually
they're all
fire
faster.
Bullseye through there and see what happens. Because I picked Neva because I thought about him instead of I thought he was the right choice. What happens if I throw Bullseye through there? Is he easier?
I mean, it's a very
It's the-
subjective
Oh, way
question.
easier. What was I thinking?
Bullseye's the best pod. What are you thinking?
Why did
You
I
and
just
Drake would
grab-
agree there. That's
Oh.
no good.
That would have been like not even close if I'd used Bullseye. I wouldn't have fallen off a single time.
Well,
Oh,
you
man.
can fall off with Bullseye pretty easily, but the thing about
Yeah,
Bullseye
but like, the
is
thing
like
is, I've practiced Bullseye before, so I know how to use him here.
yeah,
I just didn't think of it.
you know the funny part about that is you picked him against me last year when you banned Ben and I went Mars and you went Bullseye. It's like you did this in tournament before.
In my defense, I'm an idiot.
I rest my case, Father.
Your Honor, I'm a moron.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that was certainly something. I just blanked. I just forgot about him.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been an interesting match, that's for sure.
Got to flex
And
that I
on
practiced
top
with
of that,
Eve.
Digital, you will now be moving on to face King Bean Dip.
Woo!
Wait,
winner's
I
corner.
advanced in tournament bracket?
Yeah.
This
Yes.
has never happened before.
Celebrate.
This is beyond science.
Pour some
And
champagne.
usually
And,
I qualify and get pitted right against like Dom or KVD or Ace or something, and then I have to go up against the loser of their next match.
And that's no good. You will be facing the loser of Metallica versus Yam.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Next match, I'll set up the Guitar Hero controller. Or at least attempt more effectively.
Or the steering wheel, which was hilarious.
Well, I've got the steering wheel, but I did that last year. I'm not doing it again. I can't do the same thing twice.
You really want to go out in style, in your opinion.
Wants to go out and style. You know, if you can get either of them to also get on board and try the Guitar Hero controller, that would be a fantastic match to watch.
I don't know how easy it is to set up the Guitar Hero controller. It might be more complicated than it seems, but
Once you get your configs set up, just send them the config file.
Yeah. I think there's an actual video of a guy who literally did that for this game.
Yeah, you definitely
Really?
can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
What
a
I want
little
to see is
video
I want to
of
see
someone
somebody set up a
playing
drum
with
set.
someone racer with a guitar controller, and he was showing off how he was playing the awkward guitar controller with it.
Is
Oh,
it?
man.
Did he do well?
I don't
Yeah,
think
how'd
he
he do?
did well, but it was hilarious.
Oh boy. This is gonna be an interesting match if that Guitar Hero guitar actually gets set up. I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sad that I didn't get to race against it with an inverted X-axis, though. That would have been hilarious.
I was surprised you could even set up a mouse to play this game. I wonder how that works.
Or you could have selected mirror mode and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Mirror mode with inverted x-axis, just do the exact same inputs as always.
Hold the controller upside down.
Oh man, this is getting out of hand.
Oh boy.
All right.
Well, that was
congratulations again, Digital, on the win, and that was a great match. That's no good. That's no good. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that might be the first time you've taken a race off of a player of Digital's caliber, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, that was a great pick and a great race from you there. We still have a lot of pod racing left. Obviously, this is just the very first round of the double elimination bracket. We have Zalaskalar and Magius to look forward to. We have myself versus Nock that we're going to have. Metallica versus Yam, and King Bean Dip versus Digital. All possible matches. So yeah, I hope to see all of you in those future matches. I don't think we have any more scheduled right now, but there should be some coming up here soon.
Sounds great.
And in the meantime, good luck to everyone, and may the force be with you.
Absolutely.
Good luck, everyone.
Absolutely, yeah.
The force be with you.